Hey guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today I thought it would be fun, as in case you didn't know, this week is WattCon, which is held, hosted, sponsored by Wattpad. And I thought it'd be fun in honor of WattCon to talk about the first time I ever got to visit Wattpad HQ, which was in May 2016, so about 2.5 years ago. I thought it'd be fun to talk about one particular story in which I think I've talked about a little bit on the internet, but definitely never on my YouTube channel. And that is the time that, according to a doctor, I almost went blind. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump right into it. So for some backstory, Wattpad booked my flights to go to Wattpad and back home. So I was leaving on a Thursday, and in order to get to the airport, I knew I had to leave my house and go through security and stuff. I had to leave my house at 4:30 in the morning. So being me, I got home at 12 o'clock in the morning, still hadn't packed, and still hadn't even done my laundry to go to Wattpad. So for those who don't know where Wattpad is, it is in Toronto, Canada, and I, at the time, lived in Orlando, Florida. So it was about a 2.5-hour flight for me. So I got home at 12 o'clock in the morning and started packing and doing my laundry and kind of just running all around trying to get everything together. And I ended up going to bed at 2:30 in the morning, which gave me 2 hours of sleep. So my alarm went off at 4:30. At that time, I never wore glasses. Hated glasses. So I put in my contacts, I did my makeup, I put on a cute little airplane comfy outfit, but meeting Wattpad HQ staff for the first time outfit, and then went to the airport. When I got there, Wattpad was very gracious. They had booked me a car to take them to Wattpad HQ. It was about probably 8 o'clock when I landed, so I got to Wattpad HQ about 8:30. And I stored my luggage at their on-site at HQ, and I got to meet the team, and we sat in meetings, and it was a long day, basically. And I never made it to my hotel room until 8 o'clock, and that was just so that I could change because we were going out for dinner. To reiterate, I put in my contacts at 4:30 in the morning. It is now 8 o'clock at night. My eyes were bloodshot. So I was like, you know what, Rachel, it would be a good idea now to take out your contacts because you're gonna have a long weekend ahead of you. So I popped out my contacts, put on my glasses, we went to dinner. By the time I got home, my right eye hurt so bad, it was constantly watering, and I didn't want to deal with it anymore. It was 10:30 at night. I'd been up since 4:30 in the morning with 2 hours of sleep. And so I was like, cutting out, time for me to go to bed. That lasted 2 hours, as at 12:30 in the morning, I woke up and my eye was swollen almost shut. It was watering, it was throbbing pain, and I was like, oh, darn. So I hopped in the shower, I was like, something must be in my eye, so I was trying to rinse out my eye, got out, that didn't help. I threw some eye drops in there, that made it worse. So now my vision is cloudy, I can't really see out of my right eye, it's swollen almost shut, and it's about 1 o'clock in the morning. So I think to myself, you know what, Rachel, you're in Canada, you've never been to Canada, it would be a great idea to walk to a drugstore. 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 hours of sleep again. I'm wearing my Jonas Brothers concert t-shirt, flower pajama shorts, and Birks. So I go downstairs, go up to the concierge. Luckily, thank God, they had a 24-hour concierge and said, hello, where is the nearest drugstore? I'm gonna walk there. And he was like, are you sure? I can call you a cab. And I was like, well, how far is it? He was like, 2 blocks. I was like, I can walk 2 blocks, I'm fine. So I walk the 2 blocks, then 3, then 4, can't find the drugstore. Now I am very upset. My eye hurts a lot. And I have to turn around and walk back to the hotel because I can't find a drugstore. Now I don't know where I am, but luckily I walked in a straight line. So I turn and start going the other way. And of course, since I can't see out of my right eye, no peripheral vision, I fell off the curb. Fell off the curb. I fell on my ankle. I scraped up my knee. And then I just sat on the curb and cried. Blessed be that a cab driver came by and offered to take me back to my hotel free of charge so I could figure out what I was gonna do. Because at this point, my eye was swollen shut. So I get back to the hotel, I go up to the concierge, and I'm like, hey, didn't find that drugstore, but I probably need to go, like, to a doctor. I'm in Canada, and I need to go to a doctor. He was like, okay, let me go and get you a cab. Now this is important because he did not call a cab, but walked outside with me to flag down a cab. That's important, I promise. So I get in the cab, get in the back seat. I'm like, take me to the nearest doctor. Probably knew it would be an emergency room. So he takes me there. There's a line outside the door, running down the side of the building. I step out, it smells like urine. There's broken glass on the floor. And I'm like, now, already I've proven I'm not the smartest person at this point, as I wanted to walk to a drugstore in the middle of the night in my pajamas. So luckily this cab driver was like, ma'am, let me take you to a different ER in a different part of town. And I was like, that sounds like a good idea. So my first red flag should have been when he said, go ahead and sit up front. It'll be a short drive. And I was like, I mean, sure. So he's asking me questions. Can you see out of your eye? I was like, no. And he was like, is it just blackness? And I was like, it's kind of just like blurry, but like I can't open it enough to like check, you know, because it hurts. So he's asking me questions about my vision. Probably should have been my second red flag, but your girl was tired. So we get to the ER and he says, don't worry, I'll wait out here for you. And I said, this is an ER. I know how ERs work. This is gonna be a couple of hours. Like, you're not gonna wait for me. And he was like, no, I'll wait out here for you. Go ahead and go inside and just leave your stuff in my car. So I said, sounds great, and went inside. Thankfully, once I got inside, there was a smart person behind the desk that said, no, the cab isn't gonna wait for you. We need to go back out there. He was still there. So I don't know if he actually planned on waiting for me or is just like taking his time. Whatever it was, he was still there. So I was like, hey, yo, they said not to wait for me. I'm gonna grab my stuff from the front seat and go back in, and you go do your cab thing. So I took my purse, went inside, and sat down with the front desk lady to fill out the paperwork, at which point she said, I need your license and your insurance card. I didn't travel with my insurance card. So I was like, can't help you there, but I got my license. Pull out my wallet. Fun fact is that in my wallet, I had $80 Canadian. I don't know what that's called if it's dollars in Canada, but I had 80 Canadian dollars in there. When I pulled out my wallet, I had 20. So somewhere in there, and I think we can all guess where, I lost $60. I was in college. I was broke. $80 was a lot of money. So now I'm sitting in this ER. I'm not crying yet, but like there, you know what I mean? Like there's tears building and I'm a mess. Like I just needed this to be over. So I hand her my license and she comes back and says, it's gonna be $500 to see you today as you don't have traveler's insurance. $500. I said, ma'am, I don't have $500. Right now, I don't even have $100. I'm down to 20. And she said, okay. So, blessed be, they were able to work it out and they agreed to bill my parents. Sorry, parents. When I went back, the hospital was empty. There was one person ahead of me. It was about 3:30 in the morning. 2 hours of sleep, and I sat in this chair for 3 hours. Because when you go to the ER with an injured eye, that is not high on their priority versus everyone else that walks through the door. So 3 hours. I was crying. I was upset. I couldn't see. I was in a lot of pain. And when I went to ask a nurse, she said, he'll be there when he can. I get it. I'm not high on your list. As a girl who didn't pay to be there, came in with a swollen eye, you're like, you can live. But 3 hours, and there's no one else ahead of me, but people keep walking in. Like, help a girl out just a little, you know? So the doctor finally comes in, he puts an eye drop in my eye, and it clears the pain instantly. It's a numbing eye drop. I said, I get it. You're busy. This is an ER. But you couldn't have done that 3 hours ago, you know what I mean? Just like gave me an eye drop and went on your way until you could come back. So now I'm mad. I'm tired. I'm in not pain anymore, but I still can't see out of my eye, you know? So he looks at it and says, you've ripped your cornea. I had no idea what that meant. I said, oh my God, am I gonna be okay? He said, I'll give you some eye drops, but you need to see an eye doctor today or you risk going blind. If it was $500 for me to go to the emergency room, how much do you think it would have been for me to see an eye specialist in Canada, same day? I said no. I said, I paid a lot of money to be here already. I can't go see an eye doctor. I have $20. I had to sign a release form that said I was not following doctor's orders and risking my vision. So now I'm crying. He gives me my stuff and I left. Now, I walk outside. I'm still in my Jonas Brothers concert t-shirt and my flower shorts. And it's 7 a.m. I had no idea where I was. Just some backstory now. I came from a small town in Florida called Lakeland. We don't have taxis. We don't have Uber. Nothing like that. You need a ride somewhere, you call your grandma. So, I stood outside and cried. And blessed be that I called Caitlin from Wattpad HQ, and she answered at 7 o'clock in the morning, very clear. I woke her up, and I said, I need help. Caitlin, of course, was like, why didn't you call me? Why did you go to the ER by yourself? Why did you walk to a drugstore and injure yourself? Like, what are you doing? And I was like, you know, all great questions. So Caitlin called me an Uber. I'd never used Uber before. The Uber got lost. He called Caitlin. Caitlin was like, I don't know where she is. Poor Caitlin had to try to talk to the Uber guy and to me to get us to meet up. He was on a different block, by the way. So I finally get in this Uber and I call my mom and I just start crying and I'm like, I'm just a mess. I'm running on 4 hours of sleep in 2 nights. My eye still doesn't hurt, but it's like, irritated and I can't see out of it and it's swollen mostly shut. And now I have this prescription I'm gonna have to drop off, but again, I have $20 and no insurance in Canada. So how much is this prescription gonna cost me, And my mom was like, we will figure it out. Just go drop off the prescription. I went back to my hotel. No idea where the nearest drugstore was. The concierge had no idea where the nearest drugstore was. Like the one I tried to walk to the night before, but wasn't there. So I went up to my room. It's almost 8 o'clock in the morning now. I had to be at Wattpad soon for meetings. I'm sure if I didn't show up to those meetings, they would have been like, you spent the night in the ER. In Canada, you're good. But I got dressed, walked down to Wattpad HQ for the next morning meeting. Shout out to Aaron because he played the role of concerned dad very well. He offered to pay for me to see an eye doctor, which I declined. He offered to have his brother, who was just a doctor, but he was like, I can have him come look at your eye just to check it out. And I was like, no. I went to the ER. I know what's wrong with it. I'm gonna see an eye doctor as soon as I get back home. But for now, it is what it is. So, I spent the day in meetings. We went to lunch at a very nice restaurant that we walked to. In case you forgot, I did twist my ankle trying to find a drugstore at 12 o'clock in the morning. So the walk wasn't fun for me. By the time we got there, the numbing stuff had worn off my eye. So I didn't get to enjoy my very nice lunch at a very nice restaurant. So afterwards, I said, I have to go. I have to turn in this prescription somewhere, take care of this eye, and sleep for at least an hour. And Caitlin was like, yes, please go home. We were supposed to go to a baseball game, and she was like, you do not have to go to this baseball game. And I was like, nah, girl, I'm going to the baseball game. I'm just gonna sleep. So I was like, the only problem is I don't know where the drugstore is. Caitlin said, what do you mean? It's right across the street. The drugstore was right across the street from the hotel. I'm gonna repeat that one more time. The drugstore was right across the street from the hotel. I was too tired to be mad. I went to the drugstore, I turned it in, and I said, how much is this gonna cost me? And she said, $2. I thanked every God that there could ever be. Got my prescription. As soon as I put the eye drop in my eye, it took away most of the pain. It still felt like there was something stuck in my eye, but it wasn't throbbing pain. And then I went to sleep. And then Wattpad HQ was lovely for the rest of the weekend, and they never had to, ever, but they did reimburse me the $60 that was stolen, which, again, never had to do. So that was beyond sweet. And I had a great time the rest of the weekend. I didn't get to explore Toronto like I wanted to because, you know, fell off a curb. But I met some of my really good friends and we had an amazing time. Except for the part where I spent the night in the emergency room. So after all that, and I came back home, and I immediately went to see my eye doctor. And I said, "Please tell me I'm not going blind." He looked in my eye and said, "This isn't going to scar. You're healing up just fine. Come back if you're still having problems." So yeah, that was the time that I went to Wattpad HQ for the first time. It was an experience. Wattpad itself was spectacular. The staff was beyond amazing. My personal experience, not the best. I haven't had really good luck at WattCons either. So this week, I am not sick. I am injured, but healing. And I am definitely going to have a great time. And I'm putting that out there into the world so the world hears it and knows not to mess up my plans. So yeah, that was it for today. Thanks for watching. I don't normally do story times, but if this was something that you liked, then be sure to give it a thumbs up and let me know if this is something you want more of. I don't have an upload schedule. If I ever post, it's on a Monday. But other than that, you know, I'm a mess, so sorry. But yeah, click subscribe if you're a mess too. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye. I scrapped 2 hours of sleep, and I sat in this chair for 3.5, 4 hours. No, 3.5 hours.